Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the review for this Pixel 10 smartphone. And on Twitter I had asked you guys which one do you want the review first, of the Pixel 10 or the Pixel 10 Pro XL, and most of you said that Pixel 10. So here is the Pixel 10 that we have, and I have been actually testing it for the last 4-5 days, so I have a very good idea about this phone now. In fact, just about 1.5 days ago it also got the final update. Prior to that I had some concerns, but those were solved with those updates. So let's get on with this one. And to give you an idea about the physical size, this is the Pixel 10 that is having a 6.3 inch screen, and this is the bigger Pixel what do you say 10 Pro XL, having a far bigger size. And again, one thing I noticed is that the bezels, these have a slight bezels on this one, the regular Pixel 10, whereas the Pro has slightly lesser bezels. In fact, these are very similar to the older Pixel. This is the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and now even the regular Pixel 10 have a triple camera setup. That is a 5x telephoto zoom that we were not getting. And inside the box I won't show you much, guys. Nothing much has come. The phone itself and just this charging cable. So okay guys, so this is the device itself, and again one thing I have to say is that now this Pixel 10 just feels like the Pro series in terms of the build quality and in-hand feel that you are getting. Again, solid build quality, I would say, that you're getting. The only big difference, I would say, and I think so Pixel did this to intentionally differentiate between the Pro series, is that back is also Gorilla Glass Victus, but this one is having that matte glass that does not attract fingerprints, whereas this one is just having that glossy back. Apart from that, again, very good. The front screen is again 6.3 inch screen that you're getting, and the good thing is that this can also go to 120 hertz refresh rate. But unlike the Pro, I would say not a big deal. The Pro has proper variable refresh rate. It can move from 1 hertz to 120. This one just 60 to 120 hertz. So if you're going to use always on display on this regular Pixel 10, then you will not get that great battery life, and I will not suggest having the always on display. That way the Pro will get a lot better battery life because of that refresh rate that it has, variable refresh rate. Okay, apart from that, the screen quality is really good on this one, and I have no issues. By default, for some reason this was default set to 60 hertz, and I immediately noticed it. But you can just go to the settings here, and if you go to the display, where is the display? Let me just over here. I just went down and enable the smooth display, and again I've done all my testing that you'll see the battery life stats, etc., all with this 120 hertz refresh rate. Again, very smooth. We'll talk about the processor, the Tensor 5. Now it's based on TSMC 3 nanometer process, and I'll also give you some benchmark, etc., with the Z Fold 7, because this has the Snapdragon 8 Elite. So we'll talk about that also in the later part of the video. But first thing that I loved is the build quality that you're getting. Solid build quality. Buttons have that good tactile feel, and now even the fingerprint scanner on this one is that ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. So it's not like Google is what do you say, doing a lot of shortcuts between the Pro version and the regular version. I would say this has to be one of those Pixels where I would say some of the users who are slightly on the tighter budget and they're pushing for the Pro, you don't have to spend that much and you can just go with this one. That good this one is. Okay, next thing that I liked about this is the haptics on this one. Again, Pixels have got very good haptics, but I noticed the haptic feedback was a little bit different between the regular and the Pro. But on this one, the haptic feedback is as good as any flagship. In fact, I would say way better than most of the other flagships that I have used on Android. In fact, it beats the Samsung's S25, the Fold, etc. So the haptics is something that you would immediately notice, and this is something that most of the users cannot appreciate unless you have seen what it is. So if you are into haptics or something, you love this. Go to any store. I think so all the big stores will have a demo unit. Immediately you'll notice the haptics are done brilliantly on this one. That's the same case even with the Pro, but even the regular one, the haptics have been done brilliantly, I would say. Next thing I noticed is that the speakers are a lot louder, I would say, and a lot clearer also at higher volumes. Let me see if I can play a copyright free song. Again, as you can see, it's pretty loud. Let me increase the volume. Let me. As you can see, pretty loud. I mostly had to keep it at just this percentage for a comfortable, but it can go pretty loud. So definitely the speakers have become very loud on this one. Another thing, many of you people ask me about network reception and how it is. Again, I am testing it with my Airtel SIM, that's my primary SIM, and I did not have any problems here in Hyderabad. In fact, the 5G speeds were also good. I did some speed tests. Let me actually give you an idea. Actually getting pretty good speeds on 5G also. I tested in 2 different locations. Here near my house, the 5G signal is just average, was sort of outskirts, and we got a speed of 262 and upload of 55.9. That's almost 56. But in the main city, I got a download of 671 and upload of 86.8. So the 5G reception was also very good. You can get very good speeds with this one. And also in terms of calling, I did not have any problems with the calling, at least on Airtel SIMs. Ask somebody else how is it on Jio SIMs, because the problem with the Pixel is that in India you get only one physical SIM and the second SIM is sort of eSIM, so I could not test it with my Jio SIM. But with Airtel, I did not have any network problems or anything. One curious thing that I noticed on this Pixel is that, and I was perplexed, because in this area where I live, this is sort of outskirts. Here the signal is, the mobile signal is up and down. So I was not getting that great connection on this one. But and if I search for Wi-Fi calling is enabled on this one. Click here for Wi-Fi calling. As you can see, Wi-Fi calling is enabled, but by default for some reason the calls were, this was selected, call over mobile data. Even when Wi-Fi calling was enabled, it was using the mobile network. So I just switched it to call over, give the preference to Wi-Fi first, and again I did not have any issues. So this is something to note. If you get this device and you get very good Wi-Fi calling with other handsets, but here you don't get, it's switched in the reverse order for some reason. I don't know why. In US, the base variant comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, and that's not UFS 4 storage, but luckily in India it is starting with 256 gigabytes of storage. So you are getting that fast UFS storage here. So that is also something that I know. And in general operations, I would say very smooth. Again, as it's a Pixel, that's what you expect. So no issues regarding that. No lag that I noticed on this one. Another small thing that they have added on all Pixels is that now it has magnets over here, so it does support that Qi charging. So this is very similar to the MagSafe charging that we have on iPhone. So if you have those accessories, magnetically this will stick, and this one wirelessly will charge at 15 watts. I did test it with regular wireless charging in my car, and it did charge. But again, if you have that Qi charging version 2, it is actually supported on this one. Regarding the battery life on this one, this is having a relatively bigger battery life compared to the older Pixel 9. This is having a 4970 milliamp hour battery. I don't know why then they just put a 5000 milliamp hour battery. And I have to say, the battery life was actually pretty good on this one. Let me just again go to the screenshot apps. Yeah, here it is, and I'll show you the benchmark later. And I saved quite a bit of screenshot. This was yesterday, and I would say about 60% of the time I was outside, so it was on mobile data, etc. And this is almost after about you could say that this was almost about after 25 hours I put it on charge, and I don't recall it was on right now it's in 50. It was around 12 or 14% when I put it on charge. So got a screen on time of 7 hours 8 minutes with this one. So the battery life is actually pretty good. Let me actually show you more screenshots. This was middle of the charger. Again, I also got screen on time of about almost close to 9 hours on this one, but this was mostly on Wi-Fi. So realistically, I would say you can get a screen on time between 6 hours to even about as close to 8.5 to 9 hours with this one. So definitely I would say in terms of battery life, it's an improvement compared to the older Pixel. And I think so this is because of the new Tensor G5 processor on this one. This is based on 3 nanometer process with TSMC. This is the same fabrication where the Snapdragon 8 Elite, etc., or even the iPhone chips are actually made. Now let's talk about the Tensor G5. If you were expecting that the Tensor G5 will blow you away in terms of raw performance, that is benchmarks and stuff like that, then you will be disappointed. Let me actually show you. Again, I saved those screenshots also, and I'll compare it with this one. This is the Fold 7 that is having the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Let me first show you the, what do you say? Okay, let's go with this one. This is the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and let's go to the, what do you say? And this was with the Tensor G5. And as you can see, again, both in single core as well as multi-core, the Snapdragon 8 Elite goes way ahead. In fact, I was surprised with the lead in multi-core because it's huge difference. So if you're a benchmark nerd or something like that, yes, definitely the Tensor 5 again does not compete with this one. In fact, if I go even to the GPU score, this is the GPU score, that is 3001, and here again we got a GPU score of 18,000, which is like bonkers, I would say. So definitely, but the good thing is that I did try to play Call of Duty on this one. I'm not a hardcore gamer, and I played Call of Duty fine. But I would say if you are sort of a hardcore gamer, some people highest priority is gaming, then I would say don't go with the Pixel 10 because yes, it's playing the current games fine or something, but it won't be as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Elite smartphones. In fact, if your highest priority is gaming, then you can save a lot of money by just going with the iQOO's, smartphone. I don't recall, iQOO 13, 14, whatever, that comes with the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. That is around 50-ish thousand or something like that. So one thing that is improved, I would say, is the heating is a lot less compared to the Pixel 9 series. Don't get me wrong, it does not run like a cool cucumber or something. When I was using it yesterday, mostly on mobile data, etc., the handset tends to get slightly warm if you touch it, but it does not get as hot as the Pixel 9 was getting. So I'm finally, I would say, confident of recommending this smartphone to my friends and family. If you recall my earlier reviews of the Pixel 7, Pixel 8, Pixel 9, most of the time I was not recommending them because of the poor battery life and the heating issue. Even though if those were people who didn't do gaming, then also I didn't recommend because of the poor battery life, average battery life, and heating. Here I would say this does not have that major heating issues, but again, it does not run like a cool cucumber or something like that. When you are using it actively, especially on mobile data, the back tends to get slightly warm, but again, it does not get hot or irritates you. Like some of you, if you have used the older Pixel, you get it what I'm talking about. Regarding the camera, and here I think so they have done a decent upgrade, but also a downgrade in some areas. The main camera is still a 48 megapixel, which has optical image stabilization. The new addition is a 10 megapixel camera. It's basically a 10.8 megapixel 5x zoom camera, proper 5x zoom camera that we are getting, and the ultra wide is now a 13 megapixel. Earlier Pixels actually had a 48 megapixel ultra wide, whereas front camera again is that punch hole, as you can see, and it's a 10.5 megapixel shooter. So I won't talk too much about specs and stuff. I've taken a bunch of pictures in varying light conditions. So here are the screen pictures that I've taken, and I'll talk about what I felt about the camera. First, some outdoor shots, and you get the natural background blur very easily with the same. This is the regular shot, and this was ultra wide. I like that the regular shot and the ultra wide, the color shift is not that much. This was zoom, this is 1x, this is that 5x zoom, and this was that 20x digital zoom. One more example, this is 1x, and this is actually 5x, pretty good 5x, and this was the maximum 20x, and again it smeared the picture quite a bit. I would say this was at 11x, and this one did a far better job. This was taken indoors, 1x, this was 5x. The lighting was pretty dull, and finally this was that 20x zoom. Some more pictures taken in indoor lighting conditions. This was taken with that 5x zoom, and these were just taken around the house, and it's doing actually a pretty decent job. This was taken with artificial lighting conditions, and here I actually switched off the light, then also it did actually a pretty good job. To give you an idea, this was the situation with the light switched off in that area. Now pics in night conditions, dull lighting conditions, this is regular, this was ultra wide. The ultra wide gets a little bit soft at night. Some more sample shots taken in very dull lighting, and this was that 1x shot, this was zoomed at 5x, another casual shot taken at 1x, and this was 5x. What I liked is that night shots, it retains that it was taken at night. It doesn't try to over brighten the pictures. Some more pictures taken inside the house in pretty dull lighting conditions. Now for some selfies taken with the front facing camera, and I have to say the skin tones are produced well with this one, and it has enough sharpness, does not do over sharpening or something like that. And here is the portrait bokeh mode, and this time I would say the portrait bokeh mode is done a lot better. But again, notice this picture, sometimes the blurring is not perfect at times. This was taken at night, a regular shot, and this was with the portrait mode, and this came out good, but this was taken in very low lighting situation, and here the pictures is very soft. Okay guys, recording this video with the rear facing camera of the Pixel. It's actually set to 4K, actually 30 fps, and I've also enabled voice enhancement, so if there is actually any sound around, ambient sound, etc., it will try to actually avoid that. It's optional, by default it's switched off. And let me just move to the ultra wide right now. So this is the ultra wide view that you're getting, and the good thing is that I'm liking, at least in the preview, is that compared to earlier Pixels, there was quite a bit of color shift, but that seems to be solved. Now let's see how good is the stabilization. And as you can see, the grass is very uneven, and I'm just going to walk normally. So I'm just walking, and you guys let me know what do you feel about the stabilization. Now it also has that 5x optical zoom this time, which is a new lens. Generally that was not there on the non-pro version, so nice to see that. Let's see how's the stabilization on this 5x zoom now. So this is the 5x zoom, and again I'm just going to walk. And yeah, you got to be very stable while walking, because it's zooming quite a bit. So probably not a very good idea to walk around with this 5x, but again, let's see if I can pan around a little bit and see. So yeah, that's what it is. So let's just go back to the 1x, and we also have the 2x where it punches in with the primary sensor. And here also the quality seems to be good. This is that 2x. Let me just go to the 5x. This is that 5x zoom. Let's go back to the 1x, and it's very cloudy. It's raining like cats and dogs, so yeah, very gloomy day, I would say, in Hyderabad. Let me quickly go back to the ultra wide, and this is ultra wide. So definitely I would say the video quality has improved, particularly when you're moving between the lenses. I would say that's the biggest improvement I've seen. Otherwise there was quite a bit of color shift. There is also option of this blur video, and that works only with the rear facing camera, and it's trying to enhance that bokeh effect. It's trying to keep this in focus. For example, if I just go here, everything is in focus, but let's see if I bring my hand here. Okay, so as you can see, so we have this option. I would say edges of my hands still look a little bit blurred, so it's sort of a hit or a miss, and this feature is only working with the rear facing camera, not with the front facing camera. So this is the blur option that I'm seeing. Let's say okay, can be used at times, but yeah, can be sort of a hit or a miss at times. Now shooting this video with the front facing camera, and actually it has two modes. It's actually just a single camera. Again, I'm recording in 4K 30 fps, and I have the speech enhancement option on. If you switch that speech enhancement option off, then you can go to 4K 60 fps, but if you switch it on, it is restricted to 4K 30 fps. I don't know why, maybe processing issue or whatever, but you can also go to this 1.4x and zoom in a little bit, so it's just cropping, but this is the 1x that you get, and it's decent for vlogging. Let's just walk. I'm just climbing the steps to see how good is the stabilization, because while vlogging, etc., you'll be walking and stuff. I've just climbed up some stairs, so you guys let me know what do you feel about the stabilization. I'll just move around. Again, it's very gloomy day, but again, I was against the light. I'm now facing towards the lights, a little bit of light that is coming. So what do you feel about the video quality with the front facing camera at 4K 30 fps? And again guys, here also that speech enhancement option is switched on, so there are some birds etc here in the garden making some noise, but again my voice hopefully should be on focus. One thing I noticed, that zoom thing, it has that 5x zoom. They call that ProRes zoom or whatever, that is up to 20x. again, I would say avoid going above 11 or 12x, because at the 20x it becomes a little bit fuzzy. I will definitely test out the Pro version and see at higher zooms if this is actually doing a better job or not. But overall, if I have to talk about this Google Pixel 10, I would say this is a pretty good smartphone, and it closes the gap between the regular Pixels and the Pro versions. And of course, also in terms of camera, I would say I like the camera performance on this one, but still I would say the portrait mode, sometimes that blurring of hair at fine edges is still not as great as some of the other smartphones. But overall, I would say after a long time, I have liked the regular Pixel series. In fact, as I've told earlier also, I never recommended the regular Pixel 7, Pixel 8 or Pixel 9 to my friends and families. But this time, definitely, I can recommend the Pixel 10. But what do you guys feel about this Pixel 10 smartphones? Do let me know in the comment section below. And again, guys, I will be testing the Pixel, 10 Pro XL also. So stay tuned for that. In fact, I'll also try to compare some of the camera samples between these two smartphones in that video. So again, stay tuned to my channel for that. And guys, if you still have any questions about this smartphone or even the Pixel Pro 10 XL, do let me know and I'll try to include that in my future video. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.